Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Ready to Love Season 9 Episode 2. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. The last episode left us on a cliffhanger between Brandon and Habibi going home. Now listen, I understand Brandon's home life is a little bit messy. But seeing him go home was a little bit sad. It was a little bit sad. You know, he's one of the finer men on the cast. All right. So seeing him go was kind of like, but it does make sense in terms of like what he's got going on. Like, yes, he's got the 4 kids and they came from a marriage, but this marriage has been on and off. An on and off marriage is different than an on and off relationship. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to be divorced more than 6 months for me to even consider walking into that situation. Tommy has a brunch, and this week it is the women's decision for who is going home. And honestly, with Marvin doing his whole erotica, all kinds of stuff, novels, live demonstrations, and whatever, I was surprised that he wasn't more of a hot topic on the first night, but he is a hot topic today.
What does that mean? Like 50 Shades of Grey?
Yes. Vloggers, paddles, what?
It's a lot.
I know it's a lot.
So you do performances, live performances?
Yes.
Live BDSM performances?
Yes.
I like it, but it scares me a little bit.
Submissive energy is sexy to me. The way she looks down and kind of gets a little bashful, I really like that.
I would struggle to find how to connect with somebody who is in a profession like this, mainly because like the things that you're doing intimately with your partner, he's also talking about and demonstrating with other people who are clients and stuff like that. And there's not to say that he doesn't have the discernment to separate the two, like this is work and this is personal. But I personally, as the one dating somebody who had that kind of lifestyle, I would struggle with it. Now you would think Unique, similar to Elaine, would struggle because of how she called out Red for having a thought job. But here she is intrigued. And I'm like, well, hold on now, sis. If you're gonna paint somebody with one brush, use that same brush on the other person if it's regarding the same thing. Like, how is being a DJ and a comedian a thought job, but you're intrigued by a guy who writes erotic novels and does sexual demonstrations and has a friggin' red room in his home? And it's not making sense, Unique. Red decides to pull up Unique on the comments about his profession because he didn't like the perception that she was having about him, considering she's in a similar field.
I don't think we ended on good vibes.
I don't know that we started on good vibes.
You can't say it's a thought job and then say we're in the same, we do the same thing. So that means we both thought.
Definitely not. I apologize. And the next thing you think to say is, I'm a thought, all you're doing is adding smoke.
Red is saying exactly what I was saying. If you met this man through the industry and you think his profession is a thought job, whether it was in jest or not, I feel like a part of that is true. Why then would you not think this is a pot calling the kettle black situation? Like, that part I don't understand. Now Red, I don't know if Red just don't give a damn about the game or if he just has like loose lips, but for him to basically throw back in Unique's face, basically she's a thought. How did he phrase it? Something about her being a thought or something. In the moment, regardless of what he was saying, regardless of what the context was, if I heard somebody throw that back at me, I'd be like, immediate write-off. Immediate write-off. So I don't know if he just doesn't give a damn about the process and isn't bothered by stepping on toes. But I was like, okay, yes, she said something and you were offended, but throwing it back in her face is not gonna do you any favors. Taquilla sets up a group date between herself, Phil, I think Red was there, Phil, I mentioned Phil? And essentially, because they had a conversation about sex before marriage and she didn't like his answers, she's now like wondering why he's been treating her weird. And it's like, you asked me a question, you didn't like the answers that I gave you, and then your attitude on me switched. Like, why am I now gonna be buddy-buddy with you when you've created this narrative about me that just isn't true? You didn't hear me out, you didn't, you know, let me flesh out the whole conversation. Now with Phil, I feel like there was a better way to answer the sex question that Taquilla proposed to him. But at the end of the day, Taquilla needs to understand that sometimes her approach is just, I don't want to say uncouth, but nothing else comes to mind. So she needs to have a little bit more tact She needs to have a little bit more tact in how she addresses things, because I'm looking at her want to draw a reaction out of Phil, and I'm like, you don't see how you rub people off, Taquilla? Her presence sometimes is kind of off-putting. Speaking of rubbing people the wrong way, Janelle and Habibi had a conversation off screen, and Janelle from that moment was completely off of Habibi.
So why haven't y'all talked?
Just no connection there?
Habibi said something off of camera about my body. I really want nothing to do with Habibi. I don't want to bring it up.
Okay.
At this point of the episode, I was like, oh, I don't even need to know what he said to her. I already know Habibi probably said something disrespectful. We later on find out this man said that he would like to suck her titties. Now, sir, is that not sexual harassment? What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know what would possess this man. I mean, maybe it was the liquor that's flowing and stuff, but like, that's also a red flag. You can't handle your liquor. You're talking to a woman who you assume, who I would assume you'd want to date, you'd want to have some kind of romantic relationship with, and you've reduced her to just a sex object. And then you wonder why she's not taking well to you. Like, it just, yeah, I don't know. Habibi needed to go along with Brandon. Honestly, at this rate, Habibi should have gone before Brandon. Habibi opens up about his lifestyle as a saxophonist and how that has played a part in his love life.
My girlfriend didn't suck, so
Okay.
I'll just find a girl wherever I want it.
So you were cheating?
Absolutely.
I was very concerned about Habibi at this point. But at the same time, I respect the honesty, though.
Now, Taquilla, baby girl, like, you mean to tell me this man opens up about being a serial cheater, not being the best person in relationships, being consumed by his work, and all these kind of problematic things, and you are still interested in this man? Is it desperation? Is it low self-esteem? I don't know, but it's not looking good, Taquilla. It's really not looking good. Anybody with eyes can see that Habibi is a problem. And honestly, with the way that Taquilla was cutting up this episode, I'm thinking she's just as much of a problem. Janelle and Kira both have interest in Red. However, what started as some fun banter seems to have turned into a little bit of a contentious situation.
I'm feeling Red.
Me too.
That's cute for you. Okay, Red. You too close. You too close, Red.
Okay, my bad.
I'm tired of this game. I'm about to leave y'all.
Nah, you ain't going nowhere.
You see, she quit when it get hard.
Maybe I'm just not her cup of, champagne. She might like beer.
Red picked up Kira in front of me on our group date, and I didn't like it.
Now let the record reflect she had a fake bag, and I have a real one.
So, listen, the men who name themselves after colors, we know that they're a problem. We had blue, now we have red. My thing is, he does have interest in both Kira and Janelle, but he has no problem openly flirting with Kira in front of Janelle and not really taking her feelings into consideration. She did kind of take it on the chin, but I'm like, nah, if I was interested in him and he was okay with being that open with another woman, I would have an issue. Janelle, as we know, had an issue, right? And I'm thinking, although she is justified to kind of have an issue, because it is early on, this could be an indicator of potential like jealousy in a relationship. And she has this thing of bringing up people's age a lot. She thinks that Taquilla is young and immature. She thinks that Kira is young and immature. And my thing is like, I mean, yeah, I get it. Janelle does seem a little bit more mature than those two women, but it seems like there's a chip on Janelle's shoulder that I have yet to really decipher what it's about, but seeing just little tidbits of it, I'm like, I don't know, Janelle, I'm a little bit concerned. Aries invites Jessica and Sierra over to her home along with Quentin, Herbert, and there was another guy, Chris. So Herbert and Sierra have been flirting back and forth, but sex comes up and that's where things start to take a turn.
Sierra's denim was like, okay, you Gap adult, okay, Gap woman.
You have kind of an erotic spirit, like.
Erotic?
Yeah.
That means you've been thinking about me sexually.
No.
So are you abstaining right now?
Absolutely. I am.
I'm not vehemently like, we must have sex before marriage, but I'm not like vehemently, let's wait before marriage.
Ciara is currently abstaining, right? But she's still a flirty woman. She's a sensual woman, but when it comes to sex, she's taking her time. It's been almost a year since she's engaged, right? Herbert is now not feeling it. And again, I'm of two minds. Like, on one hand, men say when a woman puts out like too much or too quick, it's a turnoff. But then now you have her who's clearly sensual, but right now is just taking time to herself, wanting to regroup. Maybe she'll engage with somebody when the time is right, or maybe she's waiting to marriage. I don't know, I think she said she tries every card that she buys. Yeah, so she's not waiting until marriage, right? But she is abstaining for the time being. Like, what do men want women to do? When you abstain, it's an alarm. When you're out here in the streets, it's an alarm. I don't really know. If that's enough for him to not want to pursue Ciara anymore, I don't know. I don't think it's a deep enough reason, but it did seem like their connection was a lot more based on sexual tension. So I guess if that's gone, the connection is gone as well. Jessica and Chris talk about arranged marriages, and Chris says that although he was once supposed to be in an arranged marriage, he's looking for a love marriage.
So my parents, they was arranged. My oldest brother was arranged as well. I'm not doing it. This is my life. I'm gonna choose who I decide to be with and spend it with.
Felt that we have moved to a deeper space, one where he could feel comfortable enough to share that with me as well, and also for him to be able to trust me with that information.
So far, I'm actually vibing with Chris. I was concerned because he's a Niger boy, you know? They could be problematic, trust me, I know from firsthand experience. But he seems to be somebody who's got a good head on his shoulders. So far, he's yet to be problematic. It seems like Jessica herself has good discernment when it comes to these men. The people who I see as issues, she also sees as issues, and she's into Chris. So I think I will also be into Chris for her. This looks like a good connection. I'm here for it. Aries is into Quentin. However, they have a big age gap. Is 10 years big? 10 years is big.
And even though I like older women, I wanted to see her view on just dating a younger man if she was open to it.
You're still a grown man.
Grown ass man.
So it's not like I'm dating some 20-something.
Oftentimes when the woman is older, like that's a concern, especially when it comes to wanting to produce children or more children. And so that would have been the question for me. For Aries, she doesn't feel like age is an issue with Quentin because they relate and you don't really tell that there's an age difference. But for me, having two boys, I would ask how that would bode with him. You know, would that bode well with Quentin? He is 10 years her junior and it seems like he wants more kids. Is she in a place to want to have more kids? I don't think I heard her explicitly shut it down, but I'm pretty sure her boys are a little bit grown at this point. Would you want to start over? And then also with a young guy who probably wants more than one, I don't know. And there also is a track record of guys on Ready to Love who want their own children if they want kids. So can he step into a stepfather role and maybe not have his own kids be an option? Like, these are all the questions that I would be asking. I'm sure Aries has asked them, but I would have liked to see that conversation on screen. As far as their connection, I don't know if I'm like fully into it as of yet. I don't know who I would like for Aries, but Quentin I feel is better suited with Lee. Ciara wants some one-on-one time with Habibi. Lord knows why. I hope this was a producer-led situation because, honey, anybody with eyes, like I said before, could tell you Habibi is not the one.
You smell amazing.
Right, I do. Hold on, do your turn.
Well,
I need to
some for
see the whole body. I'm just extremely judgmental. Like, when women come to dates without their nails done, it's a problem. You like me more than the other guys?
I want to know more. Like, I want to do
It's a
more.
yes or no question.
I knew how to peel a crawfish at 4 years old. You started getting 10 into my 1. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
You're my main.
What?
It's a joke.
I kind of find it concerning that Ciara's lights only started to flicker when Habibi made comments about her mom. He had said little slick things here and there that didn't bother her, but when the mom was involved, that's when she was triggered, and I was just like, Ciara, you might be just as problematic as Tequila. Not in a raw situation. She does seem more even-keeled than Tequila, but the blind spots that they have for Habibi are concerns for me. Lee went on a date with Quinton, and she talks about how her social media may be an issue in their potential relationship.
Those same legs that you like.
Right.
Other people like them.
Right.
On the internet, it kind of brings different kind of attention.
If I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, taking care of you in the bedroom, taking care of you out of the bedroom, what I'm worried about somebody looking at you for?
Listen, if you guys have been on social media in the last few days, you know that it is all fun and games until other men start to pay a woman some attention. Ask Keke Palmer. Shoot, ask, what's that man name? The big white guy who always does these like college flick movies? Whatever his name is. Clearly, men have this idea that they want a baddie, but once their baddie girlfriend is treated like a baddie, it's a bad thing. So Quinton, I hope that you really mean it when you say her social media and the attention that she gets isn't a problem, because nobody wants to then hear your insecurities be out here spewed on the internet when you could have just told the girl, hey, listen, I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's something that I can't handle. In the ladies' lounge, there are a few fan favorites. We have Red, who's a fan fave, Herbert is a fan fave, and Quinton is a fan fave with an asterisk because some of the women suspect that he is into white women. Now go ahead and be into white women, that ain't no problem, but you are on a black dating show. So it begs the question, what's your intention here? Is this a platform jump off for you? Like, what's happening? And before y'all say I'm reaching, remember Frank. All right. So here's where things go left for Taquilla. She's trying to sing Habibi's praises, and in my opinion, yes, he does have a few redeeming qualities, but his overall character is nothing to desire. Truly. And so the women are trying to say, you know, their reasons for not liking him, and Janelle talks about how he said some disrespectful things to her, and Taquilla just started kicking off.
Habibi is an authentic clown, and this is not daycare.
Who the say some like that?
They top.
They only going for you because of your skin color.
Because
I'm
what?
serious.
You heard wait, Janelle. No, I didn't hear you.
I'm really about this life.
Oh, be about it then.
Step outside right now.
Two things, one on Taquilla, one on Janelle. Taquilla, we fighting over a man whose real name ain't even Habibi, and when he is holding your hand, he would rather kiss his than yours. The man who is an admitted serial cheater. The man who's just so flippant with his mouth, he doesn't care how he disrespects women. This is the man that we're fighting over? Are we for real? At your big age? That's embarrassing. Truly, that's embarrassing. And talking about big age, Janelle likes to point out a lot how the other women are like younger and immature and whatnot, but she kind of stooped down to to Taquilla's level. Now I have to pause and say, I did not hear when Taquilla said they only like you for your skin color. Now that changes my opinion about Janelle just a little bit, because that would piss me off too. Now don't get me wrong, I'm one of those people where I'm a match the energy that you give me, right? But for her to call out the other girls but then also stoop down to their level, I'm just like, well, pot, kettle, it's the same kind of situation for me. The men in the bottom are Red and Habibi. They both have an issue with their slick tongue, and it has gotten them into some trouble.
There were certain things that were brought to our knowledge as far as like disrespectful instances.
It's something about a thought.
Hold on, time out. Unique said I had a thought job.
Remember you told my mom, you got a little out of here.
It went south.
I'm glad to see that Habibi has been axed from the process. Honestly, I don't even know what was the intrigue in wanting to cast him in general. And isn't his name Travis? Good to see you go, Travis. Don't let the door hit you on your way out. It honestly could have been a double, because me personally, I'm not even seeing the intrigue when it comes to Red. But I think with Janelle and Kira both fighting for his attention, that's going to keep him around for a while. I'd like to see more when it comes to Red, because so far all he's been is trying to make Janelle jealous and then being triggered by Unique. So yeah, I'd like to see more from him, because I ain't seeing it. I don't see what the women are into, but that's fine. That's not my business. As always, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.